Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. If you want to kind of follow us if you're on Facebook, the Gun Talk Media Facebook page, lots of videos there, and we have a lot of different things going on. In fact, somebody who knows all about the things that we are doing and can fill you in on that. And also, we got some stories to explore. Kevin Jarnagin from the Gun Talk staff joins us right now. Hey, KJ.
Hey, how you doing, Tom? Happy New Year.
Well, thank you. Happy New Year to you, sir. I was just trying to explain kind of some of the things we do. You might just kind of fill us in on, people may know about the Gun Talk show, this show, radio, which is offered as a podcast. But now we got several other podcasts you guys are doing.
Yeah, we do a little bit of everything, really. We do, Gun Talk Hunt, which is the kind of more hunting-focused podcast that I kind of host. And then you've got Ryan. Man, he's doing great on the Gun Talk Nation. He's got all kinds of new guests and new ideas and really exploring a lot of the more gun side of things, whether it be hunting, self-defense related. He just does it all on that. And of course, we've got our Gun Talk Lives that are kind of featured every week, and we have a lot of fun with that. And you never know what's going to happen when it's live.
The other part of it is these are not just podcasts, but they're done as video, so you can go watch the videos of these as well, and that's like twice the fun because you never know what you guys are going to be doing in the studio.
You really don't. A lot of, when I'm on the Gun Talk Hunt podcast, and I like to draw people in because I look at a lot of the hunting gear now. I'm kind of a gearhead, and Ryan's kind of the same. We love our gear, and we're always kind of showing something new. So it's important. Go to YouTube, go to Facebook, go to our Instagram pages, check those out.
All right. Well, you get to, tinker with a lot of stuff, and you are, I'd say, probably a hunter more than just a pure shooter. Is that fair?
I would say that's probably pretty accurate, and I'd probably say most people would describe me as a little obsessed.
Oh, no, not a little. It's seriously obsessed. Yes, exactly. You get to tinker with all the stuff. As we're looking into the new year and people are thinking, what do I want to get? What do I need? What's going on with hunting gear? You might just kind of talk about the evolution of everything hunting and kind of how high-tech things have become.
Yeah, companies are, I think, what intrigues me a little bit more than anything is our companies are starting to really collaborate on gear to make the very best possible solution for the modern hunter. And I think the one piece of gear, and it's actually a gun, that I saw that on is this new Nosler Model 21 CCH, which stands for Carbon Chassis Hunter. They've kind of teamed up with MDT, which is traditionally a long-range company. They play a lot in the long-range, the PRS chassis rifles, and they've got a HNT 26 stock. It's a carbon fiber chassis system, super lightweight, and then they fix a Proof Research Sendero contour barrel with it and a Model 21 action. And Nosler has created this gun I put on a loophole scope and rings and a silencer central backcountry suppressor, and it weighs 8.6 pounds.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff on there for only weighing 8.5 pounds.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. And when where I thought it benefited me most this year, because a guy walking into a stand is not necessarily worried about weight, but the guy who's always on the move, which is typically what we're seeing now as far as hunting trends are concerned. I think guys are starting to step away from the tree, step away from the box blind, and they're starting to realize that, man, you'll see a lot more, you'll cover more ground if you learn that woodsmanship and you step away. And so when you step away, you start thinking, what's in my pack? How can I trim down? And what is the weight? What am I going to have to carry in and out?
Well, I'm thinking about, you go back a couple of years, you got SIG came out with the Cross, which was kind of that hybrid thing. It looks a little bit AR-ish. And then Daniel Defense, what was the Delta 5?
Yeah, the Delta Defense 5 or whatever it was. But yeah,
bolt
cross,
action.
I still shoot that cross. And my boys, they've kind of stolen that gun from me. I'm not really happy about it. But they absolutely love it.
All right, you got to tell the Knox story. You got to tell the story. And Knox is what, 8 years old?
He's 8 years old, and his big brother is a really good big brother because he let his brother have day one of opening day in Oklahoma deer season, and that's typically when you can catch a big buck slipping. We happen to catch a couple of them on that trip. But he sits there, and, I set them up, and they're dry firing. They probably start dry firing around the end of September, and they dry fire every night.
Okay.
So just to get them used to the trigger and everything and used to running that bolt. And, oh, my goodness, we're sitting there in the blind, and, we set it up a couple nights before, and we're just sitting in there, and it's about 20 degrees. And Knox is just, he's just sitting there, and he's like, "Oh, Dad, there's one." And I think there's probably 10 or 12 deer rolling around the feeder, does and bucks. So we've got a herd in there, and Knox is on the scope, and I'm like, "Buddy, do you see the one you want?" "Yes, sir, I do." And boy, he followed. That buck didn't sit still. He didn't sit still. Until he made one mistake and he stopped and he took a bite of corn, and that's when Knox had those crosshairs on, and he was like, "I'm ready." I go, "Well, shoot him if you want him." And he pulled the trigger no sooner than I finished that sentence, and the buck kind of ran off, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure that buck is dead because Knox he's pretty dead on when it comes to shooting. Well, we get out of the sand, and we're walking along, and they've got the cross, and they've got a suppressor on it. So, deer, they really can't, when that gun goes off, they know something happened, but they really don't know where it came from.
Right.
And thank goodness, because, boy, he didn't make it over the fence. and I knew it was a pretty good one. I was kind of running camera, so I didn't really get to see it. So I was trying to capture everything. I walked up on this thing, and it's a beautiful, 135, 140-inch 9-point, just a great representative of an Oklahoma whitetail. And the thing probably quadrupled, maybe 6 times over, outweighed Knox because he's a little guy. But, man, in the picture, whew, he looked massive.
That is a big buck. And when Knox was telling me the story last week, and we were with several people, and one of them said, "Well, Knox, is that your first buck?" He says, "Oh, no, that's my second buck." I guess he got one last year, too.
Yeah, he got one last year, and his goal was to shoot one bigger. And it wouldn't have taken much to shoot one bigger because we kind of took the first one we could that presented a nice shot for him last year. But you ask him, he's been hunting quite a bit, but when he's on the gun, that's when it really counts. So we ask him, "Hey, how many times have you been hunting?" He goes, "I've only been hunting 4 times." And he says, October, November, and then October, November.
KJ, what's the deal with you and you getting shot all the time?
I don't know. It's kind of a role I just fell into, and it's kind of, my body's becoming numb to it now, I think. But no, it's a dubious honor of being the guy who's been shot most on that show because, we're going into our 11th season.
Wow.
And my goodness, wow is right. And I just can't imagine what number of people that has impacted and potentially saved their lives.
Oh, yeah. We've had people say, "Look, watching your show saved my life." So we know it does that. Let me do this. Let's jump around. We talked about what's new out there, but you recently did something with the old what's old out there, and you took an old cartridge to a long-range shooting class or event. Talk about the 270 and what it did and then what it couldn't do.
Boy, the idea came on that one. I wanted to tune my skills up first, and I paid for a shooting course with CR2 Shooting Solutions out in Refugio, Texas, and took the 270 because that's what I was going to hunt with in Alaska this year. And I took the entire setup. I was shooting a Savage Arms. It's one of their 110 ultralight. It's got proof research barrel on it, and that heated up really quick. So if you're looking to take a long range precision rifle course for your confidence level and your barrel life and everything else, I don't think that's where you want to take your hunting rig.
Right.
But I was shooting next to guys with chassis rifles and everything else, and they're sitting there at 12, 14 pounds. This gun weighed less than 9. So, I thought the 270 did just fine out to, 700, about 800 yards. And then the wheels started falling off. And I don't think that's necessarily, the 270's fault. I just think the carbon fiber barrel just could not hold up to the amount of rounds that I was putting through it because it was heating up and it started to walk on me a little bit. But, man, the 270 still lives. And that's just a round that I've recently become very intimate with, and I really enjoy shooting it.
So how did it do for you in Alaska?
Oh, I felt much more comfortable carrying that than I did my 6.5 Creedmoor if I were to go with that in Alaska, especially on Kodiak. You want something with a little bit of meat behind it, and I kid you not, everybody was shooting that round in our group, and we did not have a caribou or a blacktail run off more than 5 steps. I mean, they were down where they stood. And I don't know if a lot of people have hunted or heard about hunting blacktail, but that critter is tough. It lives in a harsh environment, and just when we were cleaning them out and, starting to pack them out, I had to cut through about 4 inches of back fat to get to the tenderloin. So they're meaty animals. They may be smaller in stature than your typical whitetail or mule deer, but I'm telling you, they're every bit as tough as any of those.
Amazing stuff. What bullet were you using?
We were using the Corlock tip from Remington, which actually that ran really good, especially for longer shots. Opened up really nicely, but everything dropped in its tracks. And, I was anticipating longer range shots, 300-400 yards. That's what I was really geared up for. Come to find out, that bullet will open up just as well at 100 yards than it will at 300 or 400 yards.
I think you're just having more fun than anybody ought to be allowed to have, man.
Well, I try to. I just, I love the Gun Talk team. I love the guys I work with and gals I work with. And, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be doing it in my free time. So I might as well get paid for it, I guess.
There you go. All right, as you look, you get to tinker with all the stuff. As you look at where we're going and you see all the new stuff coming, you mentioned the new Nosler rifle, chassis mount rifle. And, I mean, these are rifles that if you put it together yourself, probably you'd be spending $6,000 to $7,000. And they're coming in at something on the order of half that. Is that where we're headed?
That is absolutely where we're headed. We're headed in. It wasn't too long ago. I think everybody who listens to this probably remembers a time when, boy, if you wanted lightweight or lightweight and accurate, you're going to pay $5,000 to $6,000 because I did it. And Nosler was coming out with this rifle, and I was about to do it again. This is the exact rifle I was going to build. And I told him, Pat Mundy over there, he called and said, hey, do you want to try this out? And I go, you got to be kidding me. I was going to build this in a 27 Nosler, and now you're telling me you've already done it. So I think, lightweight is kind of, everybody's looking to trim weight now because more people are getting out, more people are covering longer distances in their hunting, and they're wanting to get the very best, and companies recognize that. Companies are listening. Nosler, Hornady, Born Primitive, all these guys, T&K Hunting Gear, all these guys are like really got a pulse on their, customers, and guys like me, man, we're trying to trim weight and be efficient.
You got a whole generation of people now who are into the extreme hunting, where we're going to put everything on our back. We're going to put a 60 or 70 pound pack on, and we're going to go up the side of the hill, and we're going to be spike camping up there, taking everything. And ounces matter.
Yes, ounces matter, and man, especially coming out, you want to be coming out heavy. But man, when you talk about, back in the day when I was really kind of just starting out and really pushing the limits of distances on hunts or excursions, a 70-pound pack is heavy. Now you're looking at, if you get the right gear, you could be carrying in 35 pounds, and that's a full kit.
And that allows you to carry back out a lot of meat.
That's what we're looking at. We want to be successful, and man, companies are sure pushing those limits. And, a lot of times, I think a lot of times folks look at lightweight equals, high expense. And to some extent that is true, but buy once, cry once on your gear, because this is stuff you're going to have for a lifetime. My kids are going to get to enjoy it. It makes your hunt more enjoyable. So, man, it's easy to get in that trap of, well, I just need it now. Man, just wait, just hold on to that paycheck one more cycle and just get what you want.
You can't have it failing on you when you're in the top of the mountain and it's raining or it's snowing or something else. At that point, it's not just inconvenient, it can actually be dangerous. KJ, thank you so much for your time here. I look forward to seeing all the things you're going to be doing in the coming year, man.
It's going to be exciting. I want to give everybody a happy new year, and be safe out there. Make this your year of education and safety.
There you go. Watch that muzzle at all times, all times. Kevin Jarnagin, we'll see you in Las Vegas at the SHOT Show.
Can't wait.